before we go, I'm going to show you how to export these out to be usable. And so what we want to do is we want to go ahead, I want to save this again, Command S, and we're going to go in and delete out the guides for the exporting file, just so we don't have any extra line segments or any extra information in our SVG files. Because when you export to SVG, you do want to ensure that everything is as close to ready without needing to change anything as possible. Obviously, you can change certain things if you're using SVG in a web browser or an app, or on other projects like a print project. You can change certain things, but you really want to ensure that everything is flattened. And one last thing I'm going to do now that I'm looking at it is I'm actually going to round this top section. I don't think 4 is necessary. It doesn't look bad though, so we might just do 4. And again, just rounding the top of this, don't want to round any other part of it. And so now, what I'm going to do, and this is why the artboards are great to be set up this way, we are going to ungroup everything. So click on each section that's grouped. We only had one that was grouped anymore. But using Command A to select all, I'm going to go up into Object, Path, and then Outline Stroke. Now, what that's going to do is take every line drawing we've done and make the border actually into an object. And so what I mean by that is, here's what it looks like before we do this. So everything is a line drawing as it was before, but when we do Object, Path, Outline, Stroke, it's going to create an actual object from that stroke so that we can export this and not have any issues. Sometimes certain SVG viewers will not be able to interpret strokes correctly, and so objects are the best way to go about doing that. And you can take it a step further. We can combine these shapes to make sure, and we can combine these so that we keep all of the aspects that we've created. I would emphasize that you save a version of your project in the Illustrator format before you go through this, and you also save a final export version. The reason for that is if you ever want to go back and remake any of these icons or change something on them or make a different style, the Illustrator format with those lines is going to be a lot easier. When you want to export to SVG, however, it's really important to make sure that you have things as simplified as possible, and that's why I'm going through and making these kinds of changes. But it's great to have forms that you can edit later as well. And just combine, you don't want to combine everything because it just makes things a little unorganized. It's best to combine things that are actually intersecting, and so it makes the most sense to combine. And the last thing is, now that they are all lines, I'm going to change the fill color back to stock, to flat black rather. Now what we're going to do is doing Command-Shift-S, or going up and doing Save As. We're going to save this as an SVG file as well, iconset.svg. Here's the real great thing about what we did when we set up multiple artboards. If you click Use Artboards here, you select all, you hit Enter to save. Keep all of the default settings here. Nothing really needs to be changed. The only time I change anything in these settings is under SVG code. If I were to turn off select artboards, you can actually grab the code and you can use it online in that format. We're just going to save out as SVG. So we can go ahead and click OK here. And we'll go into this folder now and we'll see what we just saved out. So now it's going to save each artboard as an individual icon. So it makes it really simple. All of these are drawn to the same scale, so you can use them in any project very simply. The other thing you can do is, if you are the designer who wants to send these to somebody, whether it's a web developer, a programmer, or another designer, you can actually export your entire icon set with that single click there. You can send this set off to them, and they have all the files individualized. Whereas if you were just to send them an icon set like this, that was all-inclusive, files might get confused, they might have one version of it. This way you can send out all of them at once as individual files, or you can just send an individual file by itself. But make sure to keep this version for yourself or for someone else who wants to actually do the design work. If someone just needs the files themselves to use, the SVG files are great. Another thing you can do, if you want to have these given to somebody who wants to be able to preview them easily or doesn't have an SVG viewer or anything like that, you can go ahead and do the same thing. Select Ping formats. Again, select all, use all artboards. Hit save. You can change here settings, so it might be best to give them a transparent background. You can give them just a white background, but you click OK. It saves out all the artboards, and when you go back in to check, it has every file saved out as a Ping file, all at the same size again, everything drawn to the way you intended it. You can change the names here as well, and in the final format that you'll get on CourseBirdie, you can actually find it in AI, EPS, SVG, and Ping formats, all 12 icons that will be delivered to you for free as part of this course. I hope you had a good experience today. I hope you learned a little bit of something. And signing off for CourseBirdie, this is Max Burnside. Have a great day.